Is this enough discount to convince you to buy a Wrangler? We'll find out in today's video. I'll include a link to the Doug Smith Jeeps website in the description down below. Also include a link to my car buying guide. Let's get into it. Under the hood, we have a 3.6-liter V6 that goes through an 8-speed. Fuel economy is 18 around town, 23 on the highway, with power outputs being 285 horsepower and then 260 pound-feet of torque. I'm trying to hit 500,000 subscribers before the end of the year. I'd really appreciate it if you'd help out with that. Now, the Wrangler we're filming today is a Willys with the juice coloration. So it comes with the upgraded turn signals, also the upgraded headlights, and this blacked out grille. Fog lights here on the front bumper, and then you've got recovery points too. So it has a contrast between the black and the orange. And I will say this orange is so bright, the camera filter can't pick it up. It's a lot more orange in person than it's showing up on camera. Now, this has 35-inch tall tires wrapped around 17-inch wheels. Well, technically 34.4 because it's a 315 by 70 by 17. And that means this is also lifted from the factory, and it has these little fender flare extensions, blacked out Jeep badge, and then you've got rock rail protection too. And this has the black painted hardtop. Here's your side profile with the Wrangler. I will say, once you see the Extreme Recon, it's kind of hard to go back because the regular Wrangler just looks a lot wimpier. I mean, look at that. It's just not the same. Now, this has the famous Wrangler key fob with the lock and unlock function, remote start, and then it's got the Jeep logo on the back. You actually get keyless entry for the rear here, but yeah, you've got a swing gate in the back. They paint the cage for the Wrangler. We also have a 12-volt here in the back, and then this has the Alpine sound system, and the 4-door is good storage space behind the second row. This is always cool to see, and it's actually pretty light. This also comes with the upgraded taillights. We've got recovery points, as well as a full-size spare. And there's your 3/4 angle. This kind of shows the true color a little bit better on the camera. I think we can all agree the exterior on this Jeep looks pretty cool with the Extreme Recon. But let's check out the inside. You should get a little bit of soft touch here, storage net down below. And then the Willys does come with cloth seats as the only option. Now, legroom in the back of the Wrangler is actually pretty good. My knees do technically touch if I tuck them in. We've got vents here in the rear. We also have window controls. And being a box means I've got quite a bit of headroom. Keyless entry up front. More soft touch here, and then we've got the netting down below. Blind spot monitoring with the mirrors, and they do still leave the mirror adjustments on the door panel. This has 850 pounds of payload. Cloth front seat, and this actually still has the factory wrapping, which is kind of cool. Manually adjustable, by the way. Start her up. This does still have some of the factory settings on, so not everything is going to function. But nice soft touch trim around the steering wheel with the Jeep logo in the center. We've got adaptive cruise control on the right side, radio controls in the back of the steering wheel, and then controls for the center stack here on the left side. Mostly analog gauge cluster. You do have a digital element there on the center section, and then also there off to the side to show what the driveline's doing. The screen is one of the functions that's not going to be on because of the mode that it's in right now. But below the screen, you can see all of our controls for the climate, heated seats. You've got the recirculate that's actually a little Jeep, which is kind of cool. And then notice you've got auto stop start. You can turn that off if you don't like it. Little aux area. We've got 4 window switches up front, and then a 12-volt, and then actual auxiliary switches, and then off-road plus, and then a rear locker. So this is kind of like 50% of a Rubicon because it doesn't have the front locker and it doesn't have the sway bar disconnect. We do have a part-time four-wheel drive system, and then we've got the shifter for the 8-speed. Little storage area here, and then we've got Jeep's normal center console design with the 2 lids and a USB. And this one does have some of the top insulation. Now here's our window sticker for this. This one's pretty heavily optioned out. You can see total MSRP is $63,540. Now, a lot of these Wranglers have close to $10,000 in discount. Depends on the model, depends on the rebates on the vehicle, and then the dealer discounts. But anyways, roughly $10,000 off. That brings us into the 50s, which is a much easier pill to swallow. Setting off in the Willys here with the Extreme Recon package. I was debating which Jeep to do this video with, and I decided to go with this one because it has the cool looks in the exterior. It's got the off-road capability. It's not the cheapest, it's not the most expensive. It's kind of middle of the line in terms of pricing with the Wrangler. Like a base Willys, it's kind of more on the affordable side of things for a Wrangler. Not the cheapest, but a little bit more affordable. Whereas, I guess we could have done a base Rubicon too. That would have been similar in price. But 35s. That's why I did it, 35s. Now, the modern Wranglers, the cloth seats are nice. They've got this like durable, but then they're also comfortable feel. And this is a solid axle vehicle front and rear, and it drives really well despite that. Like, the steering is direct, and for what it is, right? You don't get as much floatiness as you used to in Jeeps. And it's a pretty lightweight SUV for what it is. I'm still over 5,000 pounds, but you know, for the size, it's not too bad. So it kind of drives a little bit more nimble. You get a really cool commanding view over the hood because of the boxy, upright nature of the Jeep. Now, one downside is the windshield, right? It does have the antenna built in now, but I've talked to some people, and apparently it's actually not that much more expensive to replace this compared to the old windshields. Let me know if I'm wrong on that, but that's what people have told me, is it's not too bad with the antenna built in. That's something I was worried about with this new version of the Wrangler. Now, this Extreme Recon package does also re-gear the Wrangler, so even though it has bigger tires, which is going to make it slower, it's re-geared. It's a 4.56 axle ratio, so it moves them just fine. Now, something to note, you can actually get on the Rubicon a 4.88 axle ratio if you want, for even more aggressive gearing. That's going to affect your fuel economy on the highway. RPM is going to be higher. I mean, you can see here, if we get up to speed, very smooth, by the way, with the engine and transmission. At about 70 miles an hour, we're hovering at 2,000 RPMs. So if we were going 80, we'd probably be 3,000. Not bad. It does have 8 gears to choose from, which helps out quite a bit. You can hear everything. I mean, the glass is thicker, but still, it's a Jeep, so it's not the most insulated vehicle on the planet. It's not horrible, though. So, in summary, the modern Wranglers drive really well. The problem with the modern Wranglers actually is not about the driving. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of this new screen layout compared to the previous layout. That feels hot. That feels cold. Weird. This air coming out's warm. This air coming out is cold. So I guess we're gonna... Weird! So it's just that vent. But then this side is cold. Huh. Must be a Jeep thing. Anyways, the biggest problem with the new Wrangler is just the pricing, right? Jeep got a little bit out of control with the pricing. I mean, a V6 loaded up Rubicon's like almost 80 grand now. A 392 is 100 grand. This is over 60 grand for a Willys, right? So I think the Wrangler, like, in my opinion, this new version of the Wrangler is like the best version ever. Like, the new Off-Road Plus is fantastic. The new axle setup they have on some of the Wranglers is great. It makes the handling so much better. The Extreme Recon package, being able to get 35 from the factory, is great. Just a little bit too much. Now, after the discounts, again, I think this, I'd have to double check their website. I think this one's like in the mid-ish 50s, something like that. Like I said, it just depends on the model and everything. That's still a lot of money. It's a lot better than 60-something thousand, right? But for getting a vehicle with 35-inch tall tires, rear locking differential, solid axles, body on frame, you know, that's actually not too bad. That's a little bit more than what the, because I view this as kind of like a Bronco-based Sasquatch. It's kind of what the Willys is. So it's a bit more than that. Ford doesn't even make that anymore. So it's not, I would not call it cheap by any means, but it's kind of more in line, and it means that you can, excuse me, it means that you can kind of get a Wrangler for similar money to a Bronco now, because the Bronco is cheaper than the Wrangler for quite some time, but now the pricing with these discounts kind of more in line. Let me know your thoughts.